and upon all those who follow upon his guidance into the establishment of the last day. To proceed, ikhwan, Allahumma inna na'udhu bika min ilmin la yanfa' wa min qalbin la yakhsha' wa min nafsin la tashba' wa min du'a'in la yusma'. Verily, Ya Allah, we seek refuge with you from knowledge that has no benefit, and from a heart that has no fear, and from a soul that has no satisfaction, no contentment, and from a dua that goes unanswered, and from a dua that goes unanswered. To proceed, ikhwan, فنواصل معكم في هذه الليلة المباركة الكريمة عونا من الرحمن الرحيم. So we continue in this blessed and noble night of ours, seeking the aid and the assistance of our Lord, the most merciful and the most compassionate. مستفيدين متعلمين من علم الفقه من علم الفقه. As we continue to learn collectively as a family, as brothers and sisters upon this religion, from the science of al-fiqh. ومن منا لا يحتاج يا إخوان أن يتفقه في الدين أن يتفقه في الدين. And who from amongst us, ya ikhwan, is not in need of learning or gaining understanding of his religion? فكلنا محتاجون إلى أن نتفقه في هذا الدين أو أن يتفقهوا في هذا الدين. All of us, ya ikhwan, are in need of taking time out to learn from the religion of Al-Islam. فمن يذكر لنا فائدة من علم هذا الدين ومن طالب العلم ومن طالب أو طلبة هذا العلم. Who can give us a benefit, ya ikhwan, that's connected to seeking knowledge? Who can give us a benefit connected to learning? لماذا لا عبد يتعلم دينه? Why does the servant learn his religion? تفضل. جميلا. انظر إلى هذا القول. Look at that statement, يا إخوان. ليدافع عن هذا الدين. To defend his religion. To defend the Quran and the Sunnah من الباطل ومن الكفر ومن انحرافات ومن الجهل ومن سوء الفهم. The person who's learning his religion, the child, the adult, the brother, the sister, the father, the mother, since they're learning their religion, they can defend Islam from the falsehood that the people talk about the Quran and the Sunnah. They can defend Islam from disbelief. They can defend Islam from ignorance. They can defend Islam from all angles, ya ikhwan. وَلَا يُدَافِعُ عَنِ الْإِسْلَامِ إِلَّا ماذا صاحب العلم صاحب العلم. And no one can defend Islam, ya ikhwan, unless you have knowledge. No one can defend Islam without having knowledge. ومن أيضا, who else has a benefit of learning? Who else has a benefit of seeking knowledge? تفضل يا شيخ. جميلا. انظر إلى هذا. Look at that statement there, يا إخوان. لأن الذي يتعلم دينا يعلم كيف أن يعبد الله تعالى عبادة صحيحة. عبادة صحيحة. The one who's learning his religion, he learns how to worship Allah correctly. He knows how to worship Allah Ta'ala correctly. أحسنتم. طيب أين توقفنا? Where did we stop, يا إخوان? أي درسنا الليلة? Tonight's class is what? And then منهج السالكين. منهج السالكين. فما معنى المنهج? What's the meaning of منهج? تفضل يا شيخ. جميلا. الطريق, the path, the way, the methodology. And يعبد الله سبحانه وتعالى, the path in which the person embarks upon to worship Allah سبحانه وتعالى. طيب انتهينا بالأحكام الشرعية الخمسة. So I believe we completed the 5 rulings of Al-Islam. The 5 rulings of Al-Islam. قال الإمام السعدي رحمه الله تعالى. So Imam al-Sa'di, he mentions. طيب من يذكر لنا من تلاميذ السعدي? Who can mention for us one of the students or some of the students of Imam al-Sa'di? سمعنا عنه كثيرا. We learned a lot about him, mashallah. طيب من تلاميذه? Who is from his students? الشيخ عثيمين. جميلا. وأذكر لكم يا أخوان شيخا آخر مثل العثيمين علما أعلى. شنقيطي is before
Abdullah ibn Abdul Rahman ibn Hassan or Bassam?
Al-Bassam.
Bassam.
Accent. I'll give you another scholar, ya ikhwan, that our beloved brother mentioned, who's similar to Sheikh Uthaymeen. في العلم in knowledge وفي الفهم in understanding ليس في التعليف not in writing ما ألف مثل الشيخ Uthaymeen. He doesn't write or he didn't write like Sheikh Uthaymeen wrote. وما عنده دروس مثل دروس العثيمين لا, and he doesn't have as many classes as Sheikh Uthaymeen either. But knowledge wise, understanding wise, and tabaqa, and level, a sheikh that you barely hear about, ya ikhwan, خاصة في أمريكا, especially in America, especially in America. ففي أمريكا لا نتعلم كثيرا من العلماء على الأسف من جهلنا. In America, unfortunately, we don't really learn a lot about the scholars of Islam. We don't know the scholars in Africa. We don't know the scholars in Saudi. We don't know the scholars in Yemen. We don't know the scholars in Pakistan. We don't know the scholars in India. We don't know the scholars in this land and this land. In America, we don't really study the likes of that, unfortunately. لكن العلماء كثيرون, but there are many scholars of Al-Islam. منها أو منهم هذا الإمام البسام رحمه الله. فهذا الإمام إمام قوح. From these great scholars, from the students of Al-Saadi, is this great Imam Al-Bassam. وله كتاب عظيم جدا. He has a tremendous book. We'll mention one of them, two of them inshallah. له شرح على عمدة الأحكام. He has an explanation of a tremendous book called عمدة الأحكام. وله شرح على بلوغ المرام. And he has an explanation of the book بلوغ المرام. بلوغ المرام. طيب وأولادنا الصغار أريدكم أن تأخذوا دفترا. And our young children, we encourage you inshallah, like we do our adults, our brothers and our sisters, to get a notebook. Someone give our beloved brothers a pencil and a paper, ya ikhwan, so we can start raising our children upon seeking knowledge, upon the circles of knowledge. Somebody give these brothers something to write with, inshallah ta'ala, and something to write on. طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال الإمام السعدي رحمه الله. Imam Al-Sa'di, he mentions, may Allah have mercy upon him, فيجب على المكلف أن يتعلم منه كل ما يحتاج إليه في عباداته ومعاملاته وغيرها. So he says, it's an obligation upon every mukallaf, to learn those things that he is in knowledge of, that he's in need of, regarding his worship and regarding his general dealings, his buying and trading, his character, his manners, how to deal with this one, how to deal with the neighbor, and other than that.
We never did the jais or
Mubah. We didn't do Mubah. Our brother says we didn't do Mubah. We did Mubah. فقلنا ما هو المباح? What does it mean مباح? That which is allowed. فقلنا أن المباح لا مدح فيه ولا ذم فيه. We mentioned a few positions. That which is easy, that which is allowed. Write this down, ya ikhwan. How to determine something to be allowed in Islam? قال لا مدح فيه ولا ذم فيه. It's an action that there's no praise in doing it. You don't get praise for it, and you don't get criticized for it. لا مدح فيه ولا ذم. There's no praise in it, and there's no dispraise. مثل القيام. عموما, like standing up. If I just stand up right now, ما مدحت لهذا, I don't get praise for that. ولا ذممت, and there's no dispraise. You just stand. Why are you standing? I just want to stand. It's allowed. It's not recommended to stand. It's not recommended to sit. Standing is allowed. طيب مثل, who can give another example? مباح. Just growing your hair. Just growing your hair. The brother has long hair, mashallah. Ahmed, mashallah, has some nice hair. A lot of the Somali brothers have nice hair, mashallah. I don't have nice hair, a lot of the brothers, mashallah, we play basketball, we get done, The brother just goes like this. Alhamdulillah, he's ready for salah. Allahu Akbar. His hair is nice. From Allah. Tayyib. The other brother's hair is short. Other brother's hair is medium size, medium length. It's allowed to grow your hair. Do you get a reward for growing your hair? Al-Jawab la. The answer is no.
What is the intention of following the Prophet?
هذا شيء آخر. That's different. Our brother says, what about the niyyah? You have the intention. أنا ماذا أترك شعري لأن النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام في بعض الروايات كان شعره طويل. I grow my hair long because in some of the narrations they say the Prophet had long hair. Now انقلب هذا الفعل إلى المستحب. Now, which is allowed, becomes recommended by the intention. عموما هذا كان مباحا. Generally, it was allowed. Just grow your hair. Why are you letting your hair grow? I like long hair. Why are you cutting your hair? I don't like long hair. Why is your hair medium length? I like the medium length. You don't get a reward for that. ثم قرأت حديثا من النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. Then I read a hadith, مثلا, that the Prophet كان شعره طويل. That in some narrations he had long hair. فأنا أريد أجرا من الله. So I want a reward from Allah. فأنوي أن أتبع النبي عليه السلام. So I intend to follow the Prophet. So I let my hair grow. Now I get a reward. مثل الذي يتمرن. Like the brother who works out. I'll be like brother Sheikh Myra, he works out مثلا. فعموما هذا مباح. Generally, that's allowed. ثم يأتي فينوي. Then he comes, when he goes to the gym, and he intends. أنا أنوي لله تعالى أن يكون بدني قويا للعبادة. I intend to work out, to have a strong body for worship. I can fast, I can get up at night. Perhaps I can defend Islam, for example. So he has a strong body. So something is allowed, but with a good intention, it becomes, he gets a reward for it. He gets a reward. الذي ماذا يلبس عطرا. The brother that puts on oils. You know, عطر. Oils. طيب. That's allowed. لكن قد يكون مستحبا. But it can be recommended. When can it be recommended? Bismillah. If he's doing it for the sake of Allah. He's following the sunnah of his messenger. عليه الصلاة والسلام. طيب. قال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. And the messenger of Allah, he mentions, من يريد الله به خيرا يفقهه في الدين. الحديث. Whoever Allah intends good for, he gives him an understanding of this religion. Collected by Bukhari or Muslim. أعطيتم إياكم. I gave us all rather a benefit يا إخوان. أن هذا الحديث جاء عن ثلاثة صحابة النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. So we mentioned this narration is narrated by three companions. Muawiyah, Abu Huraira, and Abdullah ibn Abbas. Ahsant. خذوا هذه الفائدة. Take that benefit يا إخوان. أنتم تدرسون حديث النبي. You brothers and sisters who are studying the hadith of the Messenger عليه الصلاة والسلام. This hadith, من يريد الله به خيرا يفقهه في الدين. Whoever Allah intends good for, he gives him understanding of the religion. It's narrated by three companions. Muawiyah, Abu Huraira, and Abdullah ibn Abbas. Muawiyah, Abu Huraira, and Abdullah ibn Abbas. Umar, how many companions? Abu Huraira, Muawiyah, and Abdullah ibn Abbas. Luqman, how many companions? Abu Huraira, Muawiyah, Abdullah ibn Abbas. Are sent. Our beloved brother Sahib al-Nadara with those nice glasses on. This hadith is narrated by three companions. Who are they? Muawiyah, Abdullah ibn Abbas, Abu Huraira. Sahibuka, your companion that's behind you hiding with that nice blue throat. This hadith is narrated by three companions. Who are they? Muawiyah, Abu Hurairah, Abdullah ibn Abbas are sent. Sahib al-Nawm, our brother asleep. This hadith is narrated by three companions. Who are they? Ibn Abbas, Muawiyah, and Abu Hurairah are sent. Enter. Three companions. Abu Hurairah, Muawiyah,
and
Abdullah ibn Abbas are sent. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال الإمام السعدي رحمه الله فصل. Next chapter. قال chapter. The Imam, he says chapter. لماذا ما سمى هذا الإمام هذا الباب أو هذا الفصل باسم? Why didn't the Imam give this chapter a title? Who knows? He just says chapter. Why didn't he give it a name? General knowledge, you can say that. Huh? Introduction, not the introduction. Close. Who knows?
You know, it combined with chapter 4.
Same chapter.
Yeah.
We didn't go nowhere yet. We're still in chapter 1. We're still in the first book. He says chapter. Why didn't he give it a name? Who knows? You need it before you go into the next chapter? Nah, but I'll give you a better answer than all of that. Allah A'lam. Allah knows best. Man yujibu al-shaykh. Who can answer for the shaykh? Nobody. فأحيانا بعض العلماء يا إخوان يفعلون أشياء قد يكون غريبة لكن في فهمهم هو شيء. Sometimes the scholars can do something that someone else can look at and say, hey, that's strange. Why would the shaykh do that? But for some reason he did that. Bukhari does that. Muslim does that. Al-Sa'di does that. Ibn Taymiyyah does that a lot. A lot of his books, it looks like he wrote part of it, took a nap, came back and started writing again. Took another nap, came back and finished. He don't really have chapter titles. When you study his Aqidah Wasitiyah, hopefully that's a book that we can get into next, inshallah, in Aqidah. Allah Ta'ala, and nadrus hadha al-kitab sawiyan. We hope by Allah Ta'ala we can study the likes of that book together. He comes, he doesn't really bring chapter titles. He says, قال الله تعالى, next chapter. قال الله تعالى, next chapter. قال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. He doesn't really bring chapter titles. A lot of the scholars do that. Muslim did that. In his Sahih, you go to the Sahih of Imam Muslim, ما ذكر بابا. He didn't mention the chapter titles. He mentions the books. Kitab al-Iman, Kitab al-Salah, Kitab al-Tahara. The chapter titles are not from him. When you memorize Muslim, you can't say Al-Imam Muslim said chapter. You just lied upon him. He didn't mention the chapters. At any rate, why did As-Sa'di mention it like that? Allah Adam. Some scholars say what some of you said. It's connected to what came before it, but it's chapter 1. Ibn Taymiyyah in his Wasitiyah, he does something strange. كتب الكتابة ثم كتب المقدمة. He wrote the book and then he went back and wrote the introduction. That's strange. Usually you write the introduction first. However, some scholars say it appears he wrote the book first and then wrote the introduction. Sometimes the scholars, they do things that appear to be strange to someone else. At any rate, يا إخوان, كل شخص مختلف, كل عقل مختلف. Every individual is different and every one's mind is different. طيب نمشي. Let's continue يا إخوان.
I have a question about the last hadith.
تفضل.
Hadith of Muawiyah, Ibn Abbas, and
Abu Hurairah.
Abu Hurairah. The one is in Bukhari, the other one is in Tirmidhi, and the third one was where?
طيب حديث معاوية في البخاري ومسلم. حديث a second benefit. Muawiyah's hadith is collected by Bukhari and Muslim. Hadith Ibn Abbas عند الإمام أحمد والترمذي. Hadith Ibn Abbas is collected by Ahmad and Tirmidhi. Hadith Abi Hurairah هو عند Ibn Majah. The hadith of Abu Hurairah is collected by Ibn Majah. Muawiyah, Bukhari, Muslim. Ibn Abbas, Ahmad, Tirmidhi. Abu Hurairah, Ibn Majah. طيب, أحسن. أيهما أو أيهم أقوى? Which narration is the strongest? Muawiyah's, Abu Hurairah's, or Ibn Abbas? Muawiyah. Why is it the strongest? It's in Bukhari and Muslim. جميلة. وحديث ابن عباس الثاني وحديث أبي هريرة الثالث. Ibn Abbas narration is the second strongest. It's collected by Ahmad and Tirmidhi, and Abu Hurairah's narration is the least strongest of the three. No. Wallahu a'lam. And Allah Ta'ala knows best. تفضل يا شيخ. Because it's collected in two of the strongest books. طيب, درجة صحة أحاديث النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام أقسام. This go back to the question my beloved Sheikh Hassan. طيب, when you look at the hadith that are authentic, not every authentic hadith, its strength is the same. طيب, هذا له 10 ضبط وهذا كذلك وهذا الثالث كذلك لكن قوتهم مختلفة. This brother can do 10 push-ups. Luqman can also do 10 push-ups. Our beloved brother, we always forget his name. Huh? Zakaria. Subhanallah. Can do 10 push-ups also. But they can do the same number, but their strength is different. Luqman can do 10. Zakaria can also do 10. Our beloved brother can also do 10. So they're all strong, but their strength is different. Hadith are similar. The hadith that's in Bukhari and Muslim, أقوى حديث على الأرض. The strongest hadith on the earth, according to the scholars of hadith, is the hadith that's in Bukhari and Muslim. لا يوجد حديث خارج البخاري ومسلم أقوى من الحديث في البخاري ومسلم. There's no hadith that's not in Bukhari and Muslim, that's stronger than a hadith that's in both Bukhari and Muslim. Their conditions were greater than any other hadith scholar. Stronger than a Shafi'i, stronger than other hadith scholars' conditions. Bukhari and Muslim. هذا درجة الأولى. This is the first level of صحة, authenticity. The hadith that's in where? Bukhari and Muslim. الثاني, the second level, هو الحديث ليس في مسلم لكنه في البخاري. Second level of authenticity is the hadith that's in Bukhari but not in Muslim. First level, Bukhari and Muslim. Second level, just Bukhari, not in Muslim. Let's see who's paying attention. What's the third level? Muslim, not in Bukhari. So now we have three. في البخاري ومسلم, في البخاري ليس في مسلم, ثالثة مسلم ليس في البخاري. First level of authenticity, hadith that's in both Bukhari and Muslim. No hadith, no matter where you find it in any book, is going to be as strong or stronger than the hadith in Bukhari and Muslim.
Is Bukhari more authentic than Muslim?
Is Bukhari more authentic than Muslim? Al-Jawab na'am. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. لماذا? Why is that? شروطه أقوى. His conditions were more strict. His conditions are more strict. So his hadith are more ahfaz, are more preserved, are more aqwa, are more stronger. His conditions were more. عند البخاري مثلا إذا الراوي يكون صادقا ثقة هذا لا يكفي. For Bukhari, if the narrator was truthful and reliable, that's still not enough. Not for Bukhari. One time Bukhari رحل ليأخذ حديثا عن شيخه. Bukhari one time traveled to a land to narrate from hadith. He used to travel to his scholars, mashallah, بدون مال, with no money. بدون دابة, with no BMW, no, mashallah, no riding beasts. Just walk in. Just imagine. When was the last time I challenged myself first and one of you tomorrow, walk from your house to the masjid? I challenge any one of you. أكثرنا لا يمكننا. أنا أعيش على جنب المسجد ولا يمكنني أنا أن أمشي إلى المسجد. I challenge myself first and you brothers and sisters secondly. Tomorrow, walk from your house to the masjid. I live right next door to the masjid, and I can't even walk to the masjid. It's too far. I try to walk. You see that sun? You say, oh, mashallah. By the time you start making excuses. By the time I get there, the prayer, you can walk it. طيب. Bukhari used to walk to seek knowledge. Imagine. Look how he loved knowledge, ya ikhwan. طيب. رحل إلى مكان. So he traveled to one land. وقابل شيخا. And he met a sheikh. والشيخ كان يلاعب مع حرة أو ليس حرة دابة مثلا. And the sheikh was playing with one of the animals, a mule or a horse or something like that. He was making a sound to try to get the horse to come. And he acted like he had some food in his hand to give the horse or the animal. And when the animal came, he just pet him. He didn't have no food to give him. But Bukhari كان ينظر إلى هذا الفعل. Bukhari was looking at that action. فقال هو كذب للدابة لعله يكذب في حديث النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. Look at what Bukhari said. Bukhari said he just lied to an animal. He acted like he was going to feed the animal to get the animal to come, and then he didn't feed him. Bukhari said he lied to an animal. Perhaps he will lie upon the hadith of the Messenger عليه الصلاة والسلام. You can play with animals. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But Bukhari was real strict. If he saw someone like that, he didn't take his hadith. So his conditions were more strict than Muslims. Some scholars say, but Muslims' book is more organized. وهذا صحيح, and that's correct. Sahih Muslim أجمل من Sahih Bukhari ترتيبا. Muslim's book is more beautiful than Bukhari's book. Meaning, it's laid out easier. It's laid out more easy to follow. Bukhari's book is not as easy, it's not as beautiful in that regard as his student Muslim. But if it wasn't for Bukhari, Muslim said he wouldn't have wrote his book. Bukhari encouraged him to write his book. MashaAllah ta'ala. That's a good question. So the strongest book is Bukhari, and Muslim is more organized. Wallahu alam. Anyone else here? You saw someone else find that bad? طيب.
Did you answer that question about fasting?
The best answer I've ever came across is whatever reason the Sheikh didn't imply why he did it like that. Some of the books he's going to say book of Tahara, chapter such and such. Sometimes he's going to say chapter. And you find many scholars who do that. They just don't mention their reason a lot of times. So you say, Allah Alam. Why did he say that? Some scholars say it's connected to what came before. Some scholars say. But he didn't say why he did it like that. Bukhari, I give you a benefit. When you read Bukhari, many of the scholars in Yemen, they follow Bukhari in this regard. Almost every sheikh we had the honor to study with in Yemen, they follow Bukhari in this. كيف بدأ البخاري رحمه الله صحيحا? How did Bukhari begin his Sahih? What did he say? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. No introduction. You read Bukhari, you open it up, he doesn't say Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. He didn't do that. Bukhari said, I want to follow something. I want to follow the Quran here. He says, he began as Allah Ta'ala began. He says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. قال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. The scholars in Yemen, they follow Bukhari in this regard. When they're doing Jumu'ah, they begin, Inna alhamdulillah, introduction. When they're doing a lecture, they begin, Bismillah walhamdulillah. But when they're doing class, the average sheikh in Yemen that's alive today, or just passed away in our time, when they do a class, they say, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qala Sa'di rahimahullah. They follow Bukhari in that regard. So some scholars, they follow certain traditions of other scholars. That's a tremendous point that Bukhari said. Nothing has the right to be mentioned except the way Allah Ta'ala mentioned it. When Allah Ta'ala sent down the ayat upon the Prophet of Allah, he said what? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So that's how Bukhari began. طيب. Anyone else? Ya Ikhwan? Umar, how did Bukhari begin? Ahsant. Luqman. How did Bukhari begin his Sahih? Alhamdulillah. May Allah bless you. طيب, which one of our children can come give us a benefit? Who can come give us a hadith? On the mic. Anyone? Come share a hadith. Even in English. Come on. Come on. Any hadith you wish. Come on. Omar. Leave, look man. Come. You have to come here though and say it. Say it into the mic. So you could be recorded, inshallah. طيب, turn this way so you could be on the camera too. تفضل.
إنما الأعمال بالنيات تخفص وإنما
لكل امرئ
ما نوى.
فمن؟ لا بأس. أحسنت. Anyone else? Luqman, give me a hadith. Oh, a little shaykh, come on, hadith. تعال, hadithan. Give us a hadith, ya akhi. May Allah bless you. Hiya. Tfadal. Any hadith you wish. Turn this way.
قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يأخذ اسم الله كم يمينكم إلى يمينك
سم الله وكل بيمينك وسم الله يا غلام. ده حديث عبد الله. يا غلام سم الله وكل مما. MashaAllah, accent. MashaAllah. Maybe we start doing that, ya ikhwan, and encourage the children. Before we start our class, we invite the boys to come up, recite a hadith, inshallah ta'ala. Inshallah, our future imams. May Allah bless you all, ya ikhwan. طيب, في اليمن, in the village, ya ikhwan, Sheikh Mukwi started that tradition. In his time, rahimahullah ta'ala, before he would start the class, it would be a line of boys he had a nice big chair that he would sit at, and as he's walking up to the chair, it would be like 7, 8, 9 boys, and the sheikh would give him the mic. Tfadal, iqra. And you hear this one boy, قال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام إنما الأعمال بالنيات. Assalamu alaikum. And then another brother would come, and then the last brother, and then the sheikh would start the class. Alhamdulillah. It's a nice way to encourage your ikhwan. You're home, and you call your wife, hey honey, salam alaikum. Hey, give me a benefit, inshallah. That's tremendous, ikhwan. You call your daughter, hey Naima, what are you doing? Get off of TikTok, inshallah ta'ala. Give me a hadith. She says, call Nabi alayh. Any hadith. You'll be amazed how something that small can encourage the hearts, strengthen the hearts, unite the hearts. So let's continue, ya ikhwan. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. قال سعدي رحمه الله. Al-Sa'di, he says, فصل, chapter. قال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام بني الإسلام على 5 شهادة أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمد رسول الله وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة وحج البيت وصوم رمضان متفق عليه. He says the Prophet of Allah said, look how he starts his book, look how he starts the chapter. The Prophet of Allah said, Islam is built upon 5. The testimony that none has the right to be worshipped except Allah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and the establishment of the prayer, and the giving of the zakat, and the pilgrimage to the house, and fasting the month of Ramadan, collected by Bukhari and Muslim. تعلمنا هذا الحديث في درس آخر فما هو? We learned this hadith also in another class that we have. 40 النووية, the 40 hadith of Imam al-Nawawi. Why do they call it the 40 hadith of Imam al-Nawawi? Why is that the name? It's 42 hadith. Why is it the 40 hadith of Nawawi? Who can answer? Why is it the 40 hadith of Nawawi? Because he wrote the book, yeah, he compiled the book. May Allah bless you all. طيب. ومن صاحب هذا الحديث? Who narrated this hadith? Abdullah ibn Umar, Abu Abdul Rahman, the son of who? جميلا. Accent. هل هو كان أحفظ من أبيه أو الأب أحفظ من الابن? Is he more memorized than his father, or his father is more memorized than him? هو أحفظ من أبيه. He was more memorized than his father. هل هو أعلى من أبيه أو الأب أعلى من الابن? Is the son higher than the father, or was the father higher than the son?
The father was higher than the son.
The father was higher than the son. But the son was more memorized.
Yeah.
How could that be?
It was the Amir.
Hey, Omar was the Amir, and as I mentioned before, sometimes when you're in charge, what preoccupies you? The affairs of the people. For example, you are in charge of something, whatever it is. Usually you can't write like you want to write. You can't review like you want to review. You can't teach like you want to teach. You can't memorize like you want to memorize because you're busy. Sometimes you have to free your mind. You have to free everything. For example, so he was the Amir of the Muslims, the leader of the Muslims, so he couldn't preoccupy himself with memorizing the hadith of the Messenger ﷺ like his son did, like Aisha did, like Anas did, like Jabir did, like Salama did, like Ibn Umar did. He wasn't as free. He was in charge of the Muslims' affairs. قال ذكر المؤلف رحمه الله تعالى في أول هذه الرسالة أركان الإسلام. So he says the author, who's the author? Al-Saalikeen. You can also say his name another way. Al-Saalikeen and Al-Sa'di. Al-Fatha and Kasra. Sa'di, Sa'di. Sa'di, Sa'di. You can say both ways. He says the author, may Allah have mercy upon him, mentions in the beginning of this letter, meaning this book, the pillars of Islam. وَقَدْ أَخَذَهَا مِنَ الْحَدِيثِ بُنْيَ الْإِسْلَامُ عَلَى خَمْسٍ. And he mentions them, or he took them from the hadith of the Messenger ﷺ, that Islam is built upon 5. ذلك لأن الفقهاء التزموا أن يترتبوا الفقه على هذا الحديث. Because the scholars of al-fiqh, what are the scholars of al-fiqh? What do you call them? The fuqaha. طيب مفردهم, what's the singular? الفقيه. الشيخ أو العلماء المتخصصون في الحديث ماذا نسميهم؟ محدثون. The scholars who specialize in hadith, what do you call them? Muhaddith. The word is inside the name. Al-fiqh, al-faqih. Al-hadith, al-muhaddith. What about the scholars of tafsir? Mufassir. The name, one of them mufassir, the plural, mufassirun. If you listen بالضبط with accuracy, تسمع الاسم في الاسم أو تسمع الموضع ماذا في الاسم. If you really listen, you hear the theme or the subject inside of the name. Tafsir, the scholars of tafsir, mufassir. The scholars of hadith, muhaddith. The scholars of al-fiqh, al-faqih. They hold on, they adhere to arranging their books and arranging when they talk about al-fiqh based upon this hadith. ما معنى هذا? What does that mean? الفقيه مثلا يأتي ويتبع ترتيب هذا الحديث. The scholar of al-fiqh, he's going to come and he's going to teach or author his books following the order of the hadith. He's not going to talk about aqidah مثلا, because what? When you talk about fiqh, what are you excluding?
Primary issues.
Not primary issues, accent, meaning aqidah. You can say that, that's a good translation. The primary issues of aqidah. Aqidah is Arabic, primary will be English. That's a good translation. So in al-fiqh, you're not talking about the primary issues. You're not talking about aqidah. So you're going to start with, the Messenger of Allah said, وَإِقَامِ الصَّلَاةِ. Before salah, the scholars of al-fiqh usually start off with something else that the Prophet didn't mention. He didn't mention it verbally, but he mentioned it. He implied it. What did he start off with? Before the salah. Close. Before shahada? Tahara. The Prophet didn't say tahara. He said أقيم وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة وحج البيت وصوم رمضان. The Prophet didn't say nothing about tahara. عموما. He didn't say it generally. لكنه قاله ماذا؟ but he said it without saying it. He implied. He didn't say it verbally, talaffudan, but he implied it. How did he imply it? Because tahara tata'alluq bis-salah. Because tahara is connected to salah. لا يمكن أحد أن يتكلم عن الصلاة إلا أن يتكلم عن الطهارة. Because you can't talk about salah without talking about tahara. The brother we just met, mashallah, may Allah reward him, أسلم قبل يومين, OM. So, mashallah ta'ala, the brother just accepted Islam yesterday or the day before yesterday. نتكلم إليه عن الصلاة. So we're going to talk, we talked to him about prayer. طيب. We can't talk to him about prayer without talking about tahara. Why? لأن طهارة شرط لصحة الصلاة. Because tahara is a condition for the acceptance of the prayer. So if he learns how to make salah without learning how to make tahara, ثم يصلي صلاته باطلة لا مقبولة. So he learns his salah, but no one teaches him how to make wudu. So he prays every salah without learning wudu. Is his salah correct? The answer is no. Someone's going to say, what about his intention? His intention can be there, but you still have to have what? The wudu. You still have to have the action. Intention is one thing, but you still have to have the action. You can have a good intention and still be sinful. How is that? You can have a good intention and be آثمة عند الله and be sinful. مثلا الذي يسرق مالا من المصرف وهذا معصية، هذا ذنب، لكنه فيه حسن نية. لا أعلم كيف يجمع بين هذا، لكن نقول هذا عموما. So the brother or the man, I won't say brother, the man who robs a bank. Robin Hood accepts Islam. You know Robin Hood? That was my favorite cartoon, yeah, Juan. He had that bow and arrow, nice little cape. He had good intentions. That's the point. But his action was wrong. He was robbing. So the man goes to the bank and he robs a bank. You say, hey, هذا haram. That's haram. Why did you do that? He says, I have children, ya akhi. I have to put diapers. I have to feed my children. I had to get them. I have to buy. He has a good intention to feed his family. That's a good intention. But it doesn't mean that his action is a good action. You can have a good intention, but you never reach a good action. Two parts. Husnul Niyya wal Mutaba'a. You have to have the good intention, and the action has to be done in accordance with the Quran and Sunnah. بدون نية وبدون حسن النية وبدون موافقة الكتاب والسنة العمل مردود على صاحبه. Without the good intention, without the action being in accordance with Quran and Sunnah, is not accepted.
So what if you choose the money from a scammer?
He chooses it from a scammer. What do you mean?
Like
Explain.
get the money back from a scammer. Okay.
He got it back?
Yeah. If you stole it, get it back.
Right. So he stole the money and then he goes and gives it back.
No. A person gets the money back from a scammer.
Explain.
Scammers stole money from
Yeah.
the public, and you find a way to get that
And you
money
steal it back.
You stole it back, and then what you do with it?
I give it back to the people.
To the people. Right. If you stole it back, you still stole.
Okay.
So he has a good intention also. Someone robs somebody and then you rob him and give it back to the people?
Yeah.
Street justice.
Street justice. That's a good question. Allahu A'lam. Someone robbed somebody and then you robbed him and gave it back to him. But we hope that'll be a good action. We hope. Allahu A'lam. We hope. If there's a way to get it back without robbing him, that'll be better.
Yeah.
Out of fear that I also stole from him. I had a good intention. Like Robin Hood. I say Robin Hood was Muslim, in my opinion. He looks Muslim. He only comes at night. That's Muslim. He go to Maghrib, Salah, at night time. Tayyib. He washes his face a lot in the movie. That's wudu. What else? He has a cape that's covering his aura. What else he does, ya Ikhwan? Hey, alhamdulillah. On commercial. So we didn't see. It's America, they can't show you that. Tayyib. Most superheroes, in my opinion, I say they're Muslims. In my opinion. And you just don't see them praying. It's America, they can't show you that all these people are Muslims. Ya Ikhwan, Batman. He's a Muslim, in my opinion.
He consumes alcohol.
He can repent, and we hope when he repents, Allah will forgive him, inshallah. That's the Americans' version. They can't show you that they're Muslims, so they have to change the narration. So, in my opinion, that's my opinion. When I look at that, he looks like a Muslim to me. What do you mean? His auras covered. You always see him coming back from the hammam, making wudu. What else? He's enjoining the good, forbidding the evil, honor his neighbors, respecting the... Alhamdulillah, that's Islam. So we hope that these people are Muslims, ya ikhwan. May Allah make it easy, ya ikhwan. But these are just jokes, ya ikhwan. May Allah bless you all. Anyone else? Let's continue, ya ikhwan. We hope in that regard, that will be a good deed. We hope, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah make it easy.
Is there another version of this hadith when you Islam this one puts
that's a good question, ya ikhwan.
It says وحج البيت وصوم رمضان. Is there a version that says وصوم رمضان وحج البيت?
الجواب نعم. The answer is yes.
And this one is Bukhari and Muslim. The other ones are.
كلاهما في البخاري ومسلم. The one that's in Bukhari and Muslim, the one that's in the hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. Bukhari's narration, it puts forth وحج البيت وصوم رمضان before Hajj al-Bayt. In Muslim's narration, it changes it. Bukhari favors the narration that says and fasting Ramadan and then the Hajj. Muslim's narration, it puts forth the Hajj first and then fasting Ramadan. So the origin of the hadith is the same, but Bukhari's narration is slightly different than Muslim's narration. No.
I think in the second hadith, no, it hasn't sold
Now, Nawawi, sometimes you don't know where he's actually pulling it from. Sometimes he mentions the hadith generally, and he said the hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim, but he doesn't really say, and this is Muslim's wording, or this is Bukhari's wording. So unless you know the narrations, you don't really know which narration Nawawi is bringing. But I believe Nawawi brings it the same way here. He puts fasting first. And so I believe he goes with Bukhari's narration. No, Wallahu A'lam. But it is another narration of the hadith. No. طيب قال فالبخاري مثلا بدأ بالوحي وكتاب الإيمان لأنه تحقيق لشهادتين. So now he's going to give an example of how the scholars follow the hadith. He says, for example, Imam al-Bukhari begins his book. What's his first chapter? The beginning of the revelation. How the revelation came down. And the book of Iman. The book of Iman, he begins it with these two chapters. Badr Wahi, how the legislation came down, and the book of Iman. Because these two chapters explain and ascertain the Shahadatain. ثم بكتاب الصلاة. Then Bukhari, after that, he comes to the next book, the book of Salah, following this hadith. What is the Imam trying to show? That the scholars of hadith and the scholars of al-fiqh, they usually follow the narrations. Why does Imam Ahmed say, for example, al-ghuslu lil-rajuli haqqun yawm al-jumu'ah? Why does Bukhari say the man washing his whole body on Jumu'ah is a right? He didn't say it's obligatory. He says it's a right. Why did he say that? He's following the way the Messenger ﷺ said it. And this is usually why the scholars of hadith are never usually wrong. Their words are usually the exact words of the hadith. Now the scholars of al-fiqh may be different. The scholars of al-hadith, usually whatever the hadith says, that's their speech. Whatever the hadith says, that's their speech. So you rarely find the scholars of hadith wrong. You barely find it. Because their words are going to be the exact words of the hadith of the Messenger alayhi salatu wassalam. He says, ثُمَّ بِكِتَابِ الصَّلَاةِ. Then Bukhari comes after that, the book of Salah. ثُمَّ كِتَابِ الزَّكَاةِ. Then he mentions after Salah, the book of Zakat, following this hadith. ثُمَّ كِتَابُ الصَّوْمِ. Then the book of fasting. ثُمَّ الْحَجِّ. Then the book of the pilgrimage. No. وكذلك الإمام مسلم رحمه الله تعالى فقد بدأ بالإيمان. Likewise, one of his greatest students, perhaps his greatest student ever, Al-Imam Muslim, he says, Muslim begins his book with Kitabul Iman, the book of Iman. You go to Sahih Muslim, the first book you're going to study about the Muqaddimah after the introduction is Kitab al-Iman, the book of Iman. لأنه بدأ به في هذا الحديث, because in this hadith, this is what the Prophet of Allah began with, the Shahada. So the Iman includes the Shahada. No. طيب. Let's continue. قال الإمام السعدي رحمه الله تعالى فشهادة أن لا إله إلا الله. So the testimony that none has the right to be worshipped except Allah, علم العبد واعتقاده والتزامه أنه لا يستحق الألوهية والعبودية إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. He says, meaning the knowledge of the servant and his belief, not just his knowledge, but he has to believe it. You can know something and you may not believe it. You can know something and you don't believe it. I know there's a thing called Father, Son, Holy Ghost. And I used to be Christian. طيب فأنا علمت هذه الأمور, so I learned these affairs. الأب والابن والروح. There's something called to the Christians Father, Son, Holy Ghost. علمت هذا لكنني الآن لا أعتقده. So I knew that, now I don't believe that. So you can know something and you may not believe it. You can know something and you may not believe it. He says, and his adherence to and understanding that nothing deserves one's uluhiyya. Nothing deserves to be praised and worshipped, and servitude is not given to something except to Allah, who's alone without having any partners. فَيُوجَبُ ذَلِكَ عَلَى الْعَبْدِ إِخْلَاصًا جَمِيعِ الدِّينِ لِلَّهِ تَعَالَى. So this necessitates, it obliges upon the servant that he is sincere and exclusive in his worship, directing it all to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وأن تكون عبادته ظاهرة وأن تكون عبادته الظاهرة والباطنة كلها لله تعالى. And all of his worship, this is important here, ya ikhwan, that which is inner and that which is outer. What's the inner worship? What's something you do in your qalb, in your heart? At-tawakkul, ahsant, dependence. At-tawakkul, total reliance and dependence upon Allah. لا يرى في الظاهر لا هو في الداخل. Your tawakkul is not seen. No, it's an action of the heart. What's another one, ya ikhwan, of the heart? Al-Iman, accent. Al-Iman لا يرى. Iman is not seen. لأنه في الداخل, because it's inside. What's another? Huh? الظل? Give me another one. Al-Yaqeen, mashallah, certainty. Being certain, ya ikhwan, that's inside of one's heart. You don't see no uncertainty. It's inside. You're never going to see it. Yaqeen, your certainty. You don't see it. It's inside your heart, ya ikhwan. What's another one? Ihsan. طيب ihsan قد يكون في القلب وقد يكون في الجوارح. Ihsan is a good one, but ihsan can be both. Ihsan can be in your heart, and ihsan is also on the limbs. You can have ihsan how you talk to someone, how you treat someone. Ihsan is that you speak to a person as if you see Allah. That's ihsan. Or you don't see Allah, but you know Allah sees you. You can tell in your speech. Even when you're arguing. The Muslims, when they argue, we shouldn't argue like the non-Muslims argue. Even if the Muslims are fighting, we shouldn't fight. We're going to fight with honor. We're going to fight with brotherhood. We're going to fight with love. We're not going to fight like the non-Muslims fight. We're not going to,
Fight with knowledge.
We fight with knowledge. We're not going to fight like the non-Muslims. No, I'm still going to honor you. I'm not going to hit like the people say, oh, you hit below the belt. We're not going to do that. You're my brother. I don't like you at this moment, but I still love you for the sake of Allah. I'm not going to say nothing to harm you. I'm not like that. So when the Muslims argue, it should be a way. For example, two Muslims should be able to go into the room and talk about the differences. Even if they have to wrestle sometimes. Hey, put your arm here. Let's go, ya akhi. I can't hit you in the face because we're Muslims, but I'm going to break your wrist off. In my mind, I'm going to break your wrist off. Let's go. Let's arm wrestle. Or we can really wrestle. Or we can even box, but we can't hit in the face, and we can't really try to harm each other, ya ikhwan. But there are ways that we can relieve some stress and the likes, but we have to be brothers, for example. We can't, like many of us, we try to fight each other and harm each other. It's not like that, ya ikhwan. We forget sometimes that we are brothers and sisters in this blessed religion.
Back home, earlier times, before the prayers, if it's Dhuhr or Asr, people would announce that the intention is for Dhuhr.
No.
Loud.
No. Before they pray?
Yes, before they pray. They would say, Salli Salatul Dhuhr. So by not saying it out loud, is that something counts in?
طيب, the intention ظاهر النية يا إخوان القلب محل النية القلب ليس على اللسان. The origin of your intention is in your heart. You don't pronounce your intention إلا في عبادة واحدة, except in one worship. What is that? And Hajj. That's the only time you say it out loud. The talbiyah is on your tongue. Other than that, the niyyah generally is in your heart. So sometimes in some countries, culturally, ignorantly, taqleedan, following this one and following that one, they do that in Yemen sometimes too. For example, where the man is praying his salah and someone comes late. He's praying his second jama'ah, for example, and another brother comes and he taps someone on his shoulder and say, Dhuhr, Asr. He's in the salah. You're praying, say you came late and you're making up your raka'ah. Another brother comes in, he taps you. Dhuhr, Asr.
How do you answer?
I don't know. It's like he wants you to say, Dhuhr, ya akhi, join us. But you're in the salah. You're in the salah. I remember I came late to one masjid, and one of my first times I came to Kansas City, I went around to different masajid, ikhwan, and I prayed at this masjid, real nice masjid. So I was late. I missed one raka'ah. I stood up to pray my raka'ah. So, no, I made the raka'ah, but I didn't get a chance to recite Al-Fatiha. So I followed my shaykh in his understanding here that it's allowed to salam out when the imam salams out if you didn't say Al-Fatiha. But you put the raka'ah in the ruku'. You come in the ruku' and the imam is in the ruku', and then you salam out with him. But it's better that you stand up and repeat the raka'ah and recite Al-Fatiha. What? No, you don't salam out. So I came in, I'm in the ruku', I didn't say Al-Fatiha. The imam, salam alaikum, I stood up to pray another raka'ah because I didn't recite Al-Fatiha. So I'm trying to do what's better because I didn't say Al-Fatiha. So I'm in my raka'ah. The brother's right beside me. I just came in, I'm praying. He tapped me on the shoulder, on my leg. He's like, I'm praying though. So he tapped me again. So I recite a little louder so he can hear me that I'm in the salah. Maybe he can't see that I'm in prayer, maybe. So I was like, Bismillah. Let him know I'm praying. He tapped me again. So his friend is on the other side. He said, hey, the brother, I'm right next to him praying. He said, hey man, the brother came in, he caught the raka'ah, I don't know why he prayed. So now, I'm still praying. He's like, yeah, why are you standing up and praying? You don't gotta pray. You came in. I'm still in the salah at the moment. So after it was over, he's still trying to talk to me as I'm praying. I'm going through the salah. He said, hey, I don't know why are you doing that, Yaki? You don't have to. You came in right after I came in. So I'm trying my best to finish. I'm trying my best. I salam out. I make my dhikr. So I try to talk to him, hey, alhamdulillah, I was in the salah. I can't talk to you back, I'm praying. Alhamdulillah, what do you want me to say? I'm in the salah. So he said, yeah, but you came in, you didn't have to do that. I said, I know. You don't have to do that. But I did what's better. He said, well, how is that better? What do you mean, how is that better? Is that innovation or something? What are you doing? I said, the messenger, everything is innovation in America, ya ikhwan. I don't know why is that? Everything is innovation. Man, I hope it. So I gave him the hadith Abi Hurairah The Messenger ﷺ said, "La salata liman lam yaqra bi fatihatil kitab," that there's no prayer for the one who does not recite the mother of the book. He didn't apologize. He didn't say nothing. I was like, yeah, at any rate, may Allah teach us all here. May Allah help us all. So there are many traditions that people do back home in Africa, in our countries, in Yemen, Saudi, in Pakistan, India, and a lot of them are from Islam, and a lot of them are not from Islam. There are a lot of things we do culturally. So we have to learn what's from the thaqafa, what's from the adat and nas, what's from the tradition of the people, and what's from the Quran and the Sunnah. Some things are allowed as long as it doesn't contradict. It doesn't contradict your Quran and Sunnah, then it's allowed to do. Allahu A'lam. So you see that in Yemen also. May Allah make it easier. Is it allowed for you to pray behind someone with a different intention?
Yeah.
The answer is yes. You don't have to have, sometimes the brother comes late and they're praying one rak and one salah, but he's waiting because that's not the salah that he has to pray, so he doesn't join. They say, no, you can have ikhtilafu niyyah, you can have different intentions.
Like the most common Taraweeh.
Like Taraweeh?
You miss Isha.
Hey, you come for Taraweeh, but you come for the Taraweeh prayer, but you have to make your Isha. So the person stands in the back and prays his Isha, and then he comes and makes the Taraweeh. You can do that. You can do that. But it's better أن تضم مع الجماعة في التراويح بنية العشاء ثم تصلي بعد هذه الركعات صلاة العشاء صلاة التراويح. But it's better that you join wherever the Imam is in Taraweeh with your intention of Isha, and then after you make your Isha, you continue and you join your Taraweeh. Which one is greater, Taraweeh or Isha? Isha. Why? Isha is wajib or farad or maktuba, and Taraweeh is sunnah, masnoon, recommended.
I have a question about Jama'ah. There's only one Jama'ah. If I do miss Jama'ah, which one is recommended that I see a group of brothers making up in a congregation, second Jama'ah?
Or you pray by yourself. الإمام الشافعي رحمه الله تعالى له قول عظيم. Imam al-Shafi has a tremendous position here. هو يرى إذا فاتتك الصلاة الجماعة الأولى الأصلية. His opinion is, if you missed the original first جماعة, you missed it, أن تصلي وحدك وأن لا تضم إلى جماعة ثانية. وهذا الشافعي. الشافعي says, it's better that you just stand off and pray by yourself because you missed the jama'ah. لكن الصحيح, but the strongest opinion, هو ما ذهب إليه الإمام أحمد وهو تلميذ الشافعي. The strongest opinion is what Imam Ahmed said, and he's a student of الشافعي. هو يقول هو أولى أن تضم مع الجماعة لأن هذا هو الأصل ولو فاتتك الأولى والله تعالى أعلم. He says the meaning of his speech, even though you missed the first jama'ah, and that's the origin, it's better that you join the second jama'ah, because praying together is the origin. The origin in Islam is not that you pray separate. You only pray separate if you're praying by yourself. If you're praying jama'atan, then the origin is that you pray together. Not that you have one jama'ah over there, one jama'ah over there, one jama'ah over there. No. The origin is that you pray together. You pray together. So the Imam al-Shafi has a different opinion there. Wallahu ta'ala wa alam. The strongest opinion is that if you come in and you miss the original al-ula, the first original jama'ah, and you see another jama'ah, you don't get the reward as the first jama'ah. Yes, you missed that jama'ah, but you're still praying in jama'ah, meaning jama'ah of Muslims, but you missed the original jama'ah salah, for example. Sometimes Muslims in their houses, this happens a lot in our houses. في بيوتنا مثلا عدة من المسلمين. In our houses, there are many Muslims in our houses. هذا يصلي وحده وهي تصلي وحدها وهو الثالث يصلي وحده. لا، الأولى أن يجمعوا في صلاة واحدة لأن الصلاة في الأصل جماعة. So now in our houses, the first brother stands up and prays his dhuhr, and then the Abi prays his dhuhr, and then the wife stands up and prays her dhuhr, and then the son prays his dhuhr, and then the daughter prays her dhuhr. Now, all that's allowed. You can't say that's haram, but they're contradicting the sunnah. The origin of the prayer is that you pray it together. This is the origin. No.
I had a question about that 2 rak'ah for the Tarawih when they finish? Like, how are you going to continue your Isha if you just get cut off at 2?
That's a good question, man. God bless you. So you're praying with the Imam. And you have to pray arba'an li'annaka tusalli isha'an. So you have to pray 4 because you're praying Isha. فتضم مع الإمام وهو في الثانية آخر ركعة له في هذه الصلاة. So you come in the second raka'ah, for example. His second raka'ah of this circuit of Tarawih, for example. So now he salams out. If you know where he's at, and you know the number of Isha, and you know where the Imam is, was it his first or second, then you calculate how many you have to pray. You come in on the second raka'ah, and you know how to identify. Some raka'at have signs, sometimes. If you're reciting, it's either going to be the first or the second. There's no recitation in the third or the fourth, unless you're praying the Maghrib. If you're praying the Maghrib, for example, there's going to be recitation in the first and second. There's no recitation in the third or the fourth, and no salah, even the Maghrib. The recitation is only in the first and second raka'ah. So now you come in and you see the Imam is praying his Tarawih. So he's going to recite every raka'ah. So you may say, well, what raka'ah is he in? First or second? If you can identify, it's only going to be first or second if that was Isha. His Tarawih, you might not really know where he's at. If he salams out, you calculate how many raka'ah you prayed. If you pray 1 with him, your Isha, you owe Allah 3. And then you just stay where you are, for example. Now you're going to mess up the row. Your row is going to have breakage, but you just feel our best your ability. It doesn't harm. So you sit there and you continue your salah. The Imam stands back up to pray his tarawih. You finish your Isha. You owe Allah Ta'ala 3 raka'ah. You salam out. You stand up and join that prayer. And you should not do like most brothers they do, ya ikhwan, where you stand up and you see them move out the way. For example, he's in the row and he has to make the raka'ah. So he doesn't want to break the row. So he gets out the way and move out the way more. So he won't be in the row. He shouldn't do that. He's still in salah. So you try not to move at all. Some of the brothers, their phone goes off. And this is a fitna that we have with these phones, ya ikhwan, that sometimes we can't turn our phones off or down or mute it, for example. You can't answer it in the salah anyway. So I don't understand. So you put your phone close to you or far away, and then it goes off, and you see the brother got to get closer to his phone, and he got to get close to the phone, and then now he has to read the message while he's in the salah, and then he's checking it, and then perhaps he's typing away. Why? Not like that, yeah. He's in the salah. If your phone goes off and you have the ability to stop it, it rings aloud, for example, and you have the ability to hit the button, and it won't harm your move, say it's in your pocket, and you can go slightly and turn it off, then that's fine. But if you gotta go in your pocket, find it, go through the bag, get the phone out, just leave it. If it's too many movements like that, just leave it. You're in the salah. So remind yourself, you're in the actual salah. And Allah Ta'ala, who wants to call the adhan, ya ikhwan?